Jack Nicholson walked onto the Tonight Show stage on April 8, 1975, wearing his usual dark sunglasses and that famous smile. The audience exploded. This was Jack Nicholson right after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the biggest actor in Hollywood. Johnny Carson stood up from behind his desk, like he always did, ready to shake his guest's hand. But when Jack reached out his hand, Johnny didn't take it. He just stood there, looking at Jack, not smiling, not moving. The audience went quiet. Johnny Carson always shook hands with his guests, always. In 23 years of The Tonight Show, he had never once refused. Jack's smile slowly faded. His hand stayed hanging in the air between them. "Johnny?" Jack said, unsure. "Sit down, Jack," Carson said. His voice was cold, flat, not the friendly Johnny Carson voice people were used to. Jack slowly lowered his hand. He looked out at the crowd. Then he looked at Ed McMahon. Ed was frozen in his chair, eyes wide. "Johnny, what's going on?" Jack asked. He sat in the guest chair and took off his sunglasses. Now everyone could see his eyes, confused and a little afraid. Carson didn't sit down. He stayed standing behind his desk, arms crossed. "You tell me," Carson said. "You tell me what's going on." The studio was completely silent. 300 people holding their breath, millions more watching at home. Jack leaned back in his chair. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" Carson said. His voice was sharper now, angry. "You really don't know why I wouldn't want to shake your hand right now?" Jack's face changed. The confusion disappeared. Something else appeared instead. Maybe he understood. Maybe he felt guilty. "Johnny, if this is about—" "It's about my nephew," Carson cut in. "It's about what you did to my nephew 3 weeks ago in Los Angeles." The audience gasped. This wasn't a joke. Johnny Carson was calling out Jack Nicholson on live television about something personal. Jack closed his eyes, took a long breath, then opened them. "I didn't know he was your nephew." "Does that matter?" Carson asked. "Does that change what you did?" "No," Jack said quietly. "No, it doesn't." Ed McMahon finally spoke. His voice was shaky. "Johnny, maybe we should go to a commercial and talk about this off camera." "No," Carson said. He didn't even look at Ed. His eyes stayed locked on Jack. No commercial. Jack came on this show tonight knowing what he did, knowing who he hurt, and now he's going to answer for it, here, in front of everyone. The director's voice came through Johnny's earpiece. "Johnny, we have to cut. This isn't appropriate." Carson reached up, pulled the earpiece out, and dropped it on his desk. The audience stared. They had never seen Johnny Carson act like this. Jack leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "All right," he said. "You want to do this here? Then we'll do it here. What do you want me to say?" "I want you to tell everyone what you did," Carson said. "I want you to tell them about the party, about my nephew, about how you crushed a 22-year-old kid's life because you thought it was funny." Jack stayed quiet for a long moment. The whole studio waited. Then he started to speak. "3 weeks ago," Jack said, "I was at a party in the Hollywood Hills. Big party. Lots of actors, lots of industry people. And there was this kid there, young guy, maybe 22, trying to get into acting, excited, nervous, like we all were at that age." Carson's jaw was tight. You could see the muscles in his face. "The kid came up to me," Jack went on. "He introduced himself, said he was a big fan, said he had seen all my movies, and he asked if I had any advice for someone trying to make it in Hollywood." Jack's voice grew softer. "I was drunk, really drunk, and I thought it would be funny. I thought I was being smart, so I told him what I thought was the truth." "What truth?" Carson asked, even though he already knew. "I told him he would never make it," Jack said. "I looked at this kid, this hopeful, nervous kid, and I told him he didn't have what it takes. I told him to go back to wherever he came from. I told him Hollywood would chew him up. I told him to quit now and save himself the pain." The audience didn't move. Some people covered their mouths. "And everyone laughed," Jack said. "All the other actors at the party, they thought it was great. Jack Nicholson being brutally honest, saying what nobody else would, being the rebel who breaks the rules." His voice cracked a little. "But the kid didn't laugh. He just stood there, looking at me. And I saw something break in his eyes, something important. And I knew I had gone too far. But it was already done. I couldn't take it back." Carson's hands were shaking. He gripped the edge of his desk so hard his knuckles turned white. "That kid was my sister's son," Carson said. "Timothy, my nephew. The boy I've known since the day he was born. The kid who used to come stay with me every summer in California. Who told me when he was 10 years old that he wanted to be an actor just like his Uncle Johnny?" Carson's voice was breaking now. "And you know what Timothy did after your little joke? After you humiliated him in front of all those people?" Jack didn't answer, just stared at his hands. He went home that night, Carson said, back to his apartment in Studio City, and he took every headshot he'd ever had printed, every resume, every script he'd been studying, and he burned them, all of them, set them on fire in his kitchen sink. The audience let out a collective gasp. Then he called his mother, Carson continued, my sister, called her at 3 a.m. crying, told her he was done, that Jack Nicholson was right, that he didn't have what it takes, that he was going home to Nebraska and never coming back to Los Angeles. Carson's voice was shaking with rage. My sister called me at 4 a.m, hysterical, asking me what happened to her son, what broke him so badly that he wanted to give up on everything he'd worked for since he was a kid. Carson finally sat down, like his legs couldn't hold him anymore. So yeah, Jack, that's why I won't shake your hand. Because you took one moment of being drunk and clever and funny for your friends, and you destroyed a kid's dream. You destroyed my nephew's dream, for a fucking laugh. The studio was so quiet, you could hear the cameras humming. Jack sat there for what felt like forever, head in his hands. Finally, he looked up, and Jack Nicholson, the tough guy, the rebel, the man who never showed weakness, had tears running down his face. You're right, Jack said, his voice thick. About all of it. I was drunk and cruel, and I thought being brutally honest made me cool. Made me authentic. The guy who tells it like it is. He wiped his eyes roughly. But the truth is I was just being an asshole. A drunk asshole who got his rocks off making a kid feel small so I could feel big. Jack looked at Carson. I've been that kid. Before I made it. Before anyone knew my name, I was that eager kid at parties trying to get advice from actors I admired. And you know what they did? They ignored me, looked right through me like I was invisible. And I swore if I ever made it, I'd never do that. I'd never make someone feel the way I felt. His voice cracked completely. But I did worse. I didn't ignore your nephew. I destroyed him. I took his hope and I crushed it because I was drunk and thought it was funny. And there's no excuse for that. None. The audience was crying now, quietly. Ed McMahon was wiping his eyes. Even the camera operators were struggling. After the party, Jack continued, someone told me who the kid was, that he was your nephew, and I tried to find him. Spent 2 days calling around trying to get his number. Finally got it from someone at CAA. Jack pulled a piece of paper from his jacket pocket. I called him 5 times, left messages, apologizing, begging him to call me back. He never did. He looked at the paper. Then I wrote him a letter, told him everything I'm telling you now, that I was wrong, that he should never listen to drunk actors at parties, that he has something special and he shouldn't let anyone, especially not me, convince him otherwise. Jack held up the letter. But I couldn't mail it because I don't have his address. He moved, left L.A., and no one will tell me where he went. He looked at Carson. So I came on your show tonight, not to promote the movie, not to be charming. I came to apologize to you, to your nephew, to everyone watching who's ever had their dream crushed by someone who should have known better. Jack stood up, walked over to Carson's desk, and placed the letter on it. This is for Timothy. If you're willing to give it to him, if he's willing to read it, and if he's not, I understand. But I need him to know I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. Carson stared at the letter. Didn't touch it. Sorry doesn't fix what you did. No, Jack agreed. It doesn't. But it's all I have. Jack turned to the camera, to the millions watching. If Timothy's watching this, if you're out there, I need you to hear something. What I said to you that night was bullshit. Complete bullshit. I don't know if you have what it takes to make it in Hollywood, but nobody knows that about anyone. Not really. Because making it isn't about talent or looks or connections. It's about not giving up when drunk assholes at parties tell you to quit. His voice was strong now, clear. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. Every actor you admire has been rejected hundreds of times, thousands maybe. Every single one of us has been told we're not good enough. And you know what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't? Jack paused. The ones who make it are the ones who decide that other people's opinions don't define them. The ones who hear no 1,000 times and keep showing up anyway. The ones who get knocked down and stand back up and say, try again. He looked directly at the camera. So, Timothy, if you're watching, come back to L.A., come back to your dream, and if you do, I'll help you. I'll introduce you to my agent, my manager, every director I know. I'll do whatever it takes to make up for what I did. Jack's voice broke. Because you deserve a chance, and I took that from you, and I need to give it back. The audience started clapping, slow at first, then louder, then everyone was standing, applauding, not for Jack, for the honesty, for the apology, for the hope that maybe this could be fixed. Carson still hadn't moved, just sat there staring at the letter on his desk. Finally, he looked up at Jack. "You really mean that? About helping him?" "Every word," Jack said. "I'll put it in writing. I'll sign a contract if you want. Whatever it takes to prove I'm serious." Carson was quiet for a long time. The audience sat back down, waiting, watching. "Timothy called me yesterday," Carson said. Jack's face changed, hope flickering. "He did?" "Yeah," Carson said. "He called from Nebraska, said he was working at his dad's hardware store, said he was done with acting, done with Hollywood, done with the whole dream." Carson's voice was thick. "And I tried to talk him out of it, tried to tell him one asshole at a party doesn't get to define his future, but he wouldn't listen, said it wasn't just you, said L.A. had beaten him down for 2 years. Rejections, bad auditions, being told he was too short, too tall, too young, too old, not ethnic enough, too ethnic, all of it." Jack closed his eyes. "Your party was just the final straw," Carson continued, "the moment that broke him completely. So yeah, he heard you. He heard Jack fucking Nicholson tell him he wasn't good enough, and he believed you. Because why wouldn't he? You're Jack Nicholson. You know this business. And if you say he should quit, who is he to argue?" Carson stood up and picked up the letter, held it in his hands. "But you know what the worst part is?" "What?" Jack asked quietly. "I believed you too," Carson said, "when my sister told me what happened, when I heard you told Timothy to quit. Part of me wondered if maybe you were right. Maybe Timothy doesn't have what it takes. Maybe he's chasing an impossible dream. Maybe the kindest thing is to let him give up and go home." Carson's voice cracked. "But then I remembered something. I remembered being a kid in Nebraska, 22 years old, working at a radio station, dreaming about making it in television, and everyone told me I wouldn't. Said I didn't have the look, didn't have the voice, didn't have whatever mysterious quality makes someone a star." He looked at Jack. "But one person believed in me. One person gave me a chance. And that's the only reason I'm standing here. Because someone saw something in me when everyone else saw nothing." Carson held up the letter. "So I'm going to give this to Timothy. And I'm going to tell him what you said. And I'm going to tell him that he has a choice. He can believe the drunk asshole at the party, or he can believe the sober man apologizing on television." Jack was crying again. "Thank you." "Don't thank me," Carson said, "because if Timothy comes back and you don't follow through on your promise, I'll destroy you. I'll use every connection I have in this industry to make sure you never work again. Understand?" "I understand," Jack said. "Good." Carson finally walked around his desk and stood in front of Jack, extended his hand. "Then we have a deal." Jack took his hand and shook it firmly, both men holding on for a long moment. "I won't let you down," Jack said. "You won't let Timothy down," Carson corrected. "That's who matters." "Here." They let go. Jack walked back to the guest chair and sat down, wiped his eyes, tried to compose himself. Carson sat back at his desk and looked at the camera. "We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, I honestly don't know what we're doing, but it won't be funny. It'll be real." The show went to commercial. The second the lights dimmed, the studio erupted, people talking, crying, hugging each other. Ed McMahon rushed over to Carson. "Jesus Christ, Johnny, you couldn't have warned me?" "If I'd warned you, you would have talked me out of it," Carson said. "Damn right I would have," Ed said. "That was the most insane thing I've ever seen on television." "Good," Carson said. "Sometimes television needs to be insane." Jack sat in the guest chair, hands shaking. A production assistant brought him water. He drank it in one gulp. When they came back from commercial, the energy was different, heavier, more real. Carson looked at Jack. "You okay?" "No," Jack said. "Honestly, but I will be." "Good." Carson leaned back. "So let's talk about something, about this business we're in, about Hollywood, about how we treat young people trying to make it." Jack nodded. "Okay." "You've been in this business for what, 15 years?" Carson asked. "Closer to 20, Jack said. Started doing theater in New York in the 50s. Didn't get my first real movie role until 69. Easy Rider." 20 years of grinding, Carson said. 20 years of rejection." "Countless rejections," Jack agreed. "I auditioned for everything, got told no more times than I can count. There were years where I seriously considered quitting, going back to New Jersey, getting a normal job." "What kept you going?" Carson asked. "Stubbornness mostly," Jack said. "And one acting teacher who told me I had something. I didn't believe her. Thought she was just being nice, but she kept pushing me, kept telling me to stick with it. And eventually it worked out. Because she believed in you. When you didn't believe in yourself," Carson said. "Exactly," Jack said. "And that's what I took from Timothy. That belief, that hope, that voice telling him to keep going." He looked at the camera again. And I want to say something else. To every young actor or artist or dreamer watching this, don't listen to drunk assholes at parties. Don't listen to anyone who tries to crush your dream because they think it makes them sound smart or edgy or honest. Jack's voice was strong. The truth is, nobody knows who's going to make it. Nobody can predict success. Some of the biggest stars in Hollywood were told they'd never work. Some of the most talented people I know never got their break. It's random and unfair and brutal. He paused. But the only way to guarantee you won't make it is to quit. So don't quit. Not because of me, not because of anyone. Keep showing up, keep trying, keep believing, even when it feels impossible. The audience applauded. Carson smiled, small smile. That's good advice. It's advice I should have given Timothy, Jack said, instead of the cruel bullshit I said. They talked for another 40 minutes. About Hollywood, about failure, about success, about the responsibility that comes with being famous, about how one careless comment can destroy someone, about how one kind word can save someone. It was the most honest conversation The Tonight Show had ever aired. When the show finally ended, Jack stood to leave. Carson walked him to the edge of the stage. "I mean it," Carson said quietly. "If you don't help Timothy, I'll bury you." "I know," Jack said, "and I'm grateful. Because I need someone holding me accountable. I need to know that this isn't just empty words." They shook hands again. Jack walked off stage. Carson stood there watching him go. Then he looked at the camera. One last time. If you're watching this and someone's told you that you're not good enough, that you should quit, that you don't have what it takes, I need you to hear this. Carson paused. They're wrong. They don't know. Nobody knows. The only person who gets to decide if you're good enough is you. So decide. Decide you're good enough. Decide you're going to keep going. Decide that other people's doubt doesn't define you. He smiled. And if you need someone to believe in you until you can believe in yourself, I believe in you. I don't know who you are, but I believe in you. Because I was you once, and someone believed in me. And I'm here because they did. The show ended. Carson sat alone at his desk for a long time, thinking, processing, hoping he'd done the right thing. 2 days later, Timothy called Carson. "I saw the show," Timothy said. His voice was different, stronger. "Yeah?" Carson said. "What did you think?" "I think Jack Nicholson cried on television because of me," Timothy said. "That's pretty wild." "He meant it," Carson said. "The apology, the offer to help, all of it." "I know," Timothy said. "I could see it in his eyes." Silence. For a moment. "I'm coming back," Timothy said. "To L.A. Not because of Jack, because of you, because of what you said at the end, about someone believing in me." Carson's voice was thick. "I do believe in you, kid. I always have." "I know," Timothy said. "And that matters more than anything Jack Nicholson could ever say." Timothy moved back to L.A. 3 weeks later. Jack made good on his promise, introduced him to his agent, got him auditions, coached him, mentored him, became the person he should have been at that party. Timothy's first real role came 6 months later. Small part in a Martin Scorsese film. Jack had recommended him. 3 years after that, Timothy got his first lead role. Independent film that premiered at Sundance, got great reviews. Timothy's career was launched, and through all of it, Jack was there. Not taking credit, not making it about him, just quietly helping, making up for one drunk night where he'd crushed a kid's dream. In 1982, Timothy was nominated for an Oscar, Best Supporting Actor. He didn't win. But Jack was there, front row, clapping louder than anyone when Timothy's name was called. After the ceremony, they sat together at the after party. "Thank you," Timothy said, "for everything, for the second chance." "You don't thank me," Jack said. "You thank your uncle. He's the one who fought for you." "I thanked him already," Timothy said. 1,000 times. Jack smiled. "He's a good man, better than most of us in this business." "He's the best," Timothy agreed. They sat quietly for a moment. "Can I tell you something?" Timothy asked. "Anything." "That night at the party, when you told me I should quit, part of me was relieved, because it gave me permission to stop fighting, to stop trying so hard, to go home and be normal." Timothy looked at his Oscar nomination certificate. "But then you apologized, and Uncle Johnny believed in me, and suddenly I didn't have permission to quit anymore. I had to keep going, had to prove you wrong, had to prove myself right." He smiled. "So in a weird way, you crushing me was the best thing that ever happened, because it forced me to decide, really decide, if I wanted this badly enough to fight for it." Jack was quiet for a long time. I'm glad it worked out, but I'm still sorry for what I did. I know, Timothy said, and I forgive you. I forgave you the second you cried on television. That took more guts than anything I've ever done. They shook hands, then hugged. Two men who'd started as destroyer and destroyed, who'd become mentor and student, who'd ended up friends. Johnny Carson retired from The Tonight Show in 1992. At his final taping, Timothy was in the audience, front row, and at the end of the show, Carson pointed him out. "That's my nephew Timothy," Carson said to the camera. "Some of you might remember him, might remember the night I refused to shake Jack Nicholson's hand because of what Jack had done to him." The audience applauded. Timothy stood, waved, and sat back, down. "Timothy's an actor now," Carson continued, "a damn good one. And he's here tonight because 16 years ago, someone tried to take his dream away, and we fought like hell to give it back." Carson's voice was thick. "That's what we're supposed to do for each other. Fight for dreams. Believe in people when they can't believe in themselves. Refuse to let the world crush the hope out of young people who are just trying to make something of themselves." He smiled. "That's the only thing that matters. Not the jokes, not the ratings, not the celebrity interviews. The only thing that matters is whether we helped someone, whether we made someone's life better, whether we gave someone a chance." Carson looked at Timothy. "I'm proud of you, kid." Timothy was crying, mouthing the words, "I love you." Carson nodded. "I love you too." That was Johnny Carson's final message. Help people, believe in people, give people chances. Jack Nicholson never did another interview where he showed up drunk or high or anything other than completely sober and professional. That night on The Tonight Show changed him, made him realize the power he had, the responsibility. And for the rest of his career, he made it his mission to help young actors, to be the mentor he should have been from the start. Timothy is still acting today, 67 years old now, successful career, good life. And he tells the story of that night whenever young actors ask for advice. "Sometimes," Timothy says, "the worst thing that happens to you becomes the best thing, because it forces you to decide who you are, what you're made of, whether you're going to let other people's opinions destroy you or define you." He smiles. "Jack Nicholson tried to destroy me, and it almost worked. But my uncle believed in me, and Jack apologized, and I decided I was going to prove them both right, Uncle Johnny's belief and Jack's apology. Both of them were right to give me a second chance. The footage of that interview still exists. NBC has it archived. That night on April 8th, 1975, when Johnny Carson refused to shake Jack Nicholson's hand, when the studio froze, when America watched two famous men have it out over something real. People still watch it, still share it, still talk about it, because it was real, because it showed that even famous people make mistakes, that even legends can be cruel, but also that they can apologize, can make amends, can change, not about a refused handshake, but about what comes after, about accountability, about second chances, about fighting for people who can't fight for themselves, about believing in dreams when the world says to quit. Johnny Carson did that, Jack Nicholson did that, and Timothy got his dream back because they did. Don't let drunk assholes at parties define you. Don't let rejection destroy you. Don't let anyone convince you that you're not enough, because you are. You always were. You just need someone to believe it. And if nobody else will, believe it. Yourself. That's what Timothy learned. That's what Jack taught him by failing. That's what Johnny showed him by fighting. Your dream matters. Your hope matters. You matter.